Hello and welcome to Writer Rant, author advice in 5 minutes or less because I have to get back to writing and so do you. So today I'd like to talk a little bit about something I've noticed in a couple of books I've read in the last couple of years, and that's the cast of characters. And in a play, that's fine. Right? A play, essentially you're coming into a situation, you don't necessarily know who the people are, you kind of need an introduction, you don't have the time essentially to say, hey, here's who this person is, and here's their connection to everything, because the play, you just drop right into the middle of the action and you just go, right? And so you need the cast of characters to kind of say, okay, who's this guy, and what are they doing in this story? But that's the only time you should do it. If you're writing a play, if you're doing Shakespeare or whatever, it's the only time you should have a cast of characters. I've seen it in at least 2 novels I've read in the last year where right at the beginning, right before you even start, there's this list. And it's like, okay, so you've essentially revealed all of your characters in one page and a synopsis for each and why they're all connected together. And that's just, honestly, it's lazy. And if you have to do that as a writer, you really need to reconsider your story and your characters. A lot of times you don't need that list of characters because either one, your characters are well written enough that they can stand by themselves, or 2, maybe it's a minor character and we don't need to know about them, because sometimes this cast of characters, it's like it's every character in the book, and it's like, okay, we don't need to know that as the readers. We don't need to know that from the beginning. Like, let's say you're watching a movie, like, it used to be, yeah, you might get credits at the beginning that says, hey, here's who this actor is and here's who they're playing. But most of the time, yeah, you wait until the end, and it's like, oh yeah, here's who that character was, or here's who that actor was, and it's like, by the end of the story, you should know who these people are, you should know who these characters are. But if you have to introduce it that way, you're kind of selling yourself short, right? You're kind of playing your hand, saying, hey, look, I'm not really confident that you as a reader are going to be able to pay attention enough to understand who the characters are and what their relations are. And so I'm going to help you out here. And as I said a couple weeks ago, you can't talk down to your audience. You got to keep them on the level. You got to say, hey, look, they're big boys, they're big girls, they can pay attention, they can know, hey, here's my main character, here's the love interest, here's how they're interconnected. You don't need the cast of characters at the beginning because it's really unnecessary. I mean, your characters should be unique enough that they're going to stand out and they're going to say, oh yeah, no, I know that character, I know their name, like I see their name, I already have in my head like who they are, how they act, like those are really well written characters. And so when you kind of lead with that, it's like, yeah, you're kind of forcing that onto the reader to say, hey, this is this character and this is how they act and this is who they are. And I mean, it's kind of a cheat because then yeah, you can jump in, you can kind of miss the whole exposition dump of here's who this character is, here's what they look like. Don't even get started about character descriptions because sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just so forced. So yeah, if you have a cast of characters right at the beginning of your book, just like if you have a pre-glossary, which I talked about last season, like you gotta think, how can I better integrate this information into my story so that I don't need to explain it right at the beginning? Because the better ones where it's like, oh yeah, it kind of, you drop information here and there, you kind of create this well-rounded character over time, right, as they read. That's a lot better than just kind of out of the gate. So, what about you other readers out there? What do you think about the cast of characters at the beginning of the book? Do you think it's unnecessary? What about writers? Is there anything that annoys you about the writing process? That like, I really want that cast of characters, but I don't know what to do. Yeah, just drop these comments down below, and maybe I'll get to some of them in a future episode. So thanks for watching this week's Writer Rant. I'm Benjamin M. Weilert.